All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a highly practical 7-day framework designed to develop your internal consciousness and, ultimately, help you make much wiser decisions. If you've ever felt like your daily life is literally just a constant string of reactions to external events, emails, stressful conversations, breaking news, well, this framework is specifically for you. We're going to walk through a structured way to build what's known as an internal compass.
So think about a recent really stressful interaction. Maybe it was a super tense meeting at work, or just a frustrating conversation with a family member. Be honest, did you respond the way you actually wanted to, or did you just snap? It happens to the best of us, right? But this highlights exactly why building an internal compass is absolutely crucial for our daily lives. We are constantly facing complex, high-stakes situations, and without a reliable internal guidance system, it's incredibly easy to let our automatic, knee-jerk reactions completely run the show.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for the week. First, we'll cover finding your internal compass. Then, days 1 and 2 focus entirely on awareness, followed by days 3 and 4 on alignment. Next, we hit day 5, which is all about intellectual humility, and we wrap it all up with days 6 and 7 on integration.
Starting with Section 1, the internal compass in finding your true north. Before we start the 7-day clock, we really need to define what it actually means to be guided from within rather than just reacting to the chaos around us. You see, wisdom isn't just about what you think. It really requires a balanced observation of your whole self. An internal compass isn't some vague, mystical concept. It's a highly tuned guiding mechanism. And it relies on what we call a three-centered approach. Basically, you're gathering real-time data from your intellect, your emotion, and your instinct. It's only by cross-referencing all three of these centers that we can foster true wisdom and growth.
The absolutely crucial point here is that every single day of this framework relies on checking in with these three distinct centers to understand your actual internal state. Step 1 is your head. What is the pure logic of the situation? Step 2 is your heart. What are the raw emotions you're experiencing? And step 3, which honestly is the most overlooked, is your gut. What is your physical sensation or instinct? Is your jaw clenched? Is your stomach in knots? Those physical cues are vital data points you can't afford to ignore.
Moving into Section 2, days 1 and 2 focus on awareness. Obviously, you can't fix what you can't see, so these first couple of days are all about building a really rigorous baseline of self-awareness.
On day 1, you're going to kick things off with the observer's log. The prompt here is to take a single interaction from your day where you felt a really strong reaction and break it down to see what was actually happening beneath the surface. You're stepping completely out of your own shoes here and looking at yourself like a scientist observing an experiment.
What's really fascinating here is how just separating the raw facts from your three-centered reaction instantly diffuses your emotional trigger. It's like a magic trick. On one side, you write only the objective facts, like, my colleague said my report needed revisions. No judgment, just facts. Then, on the other side, you map your internal state. Head, I'm thinking they don't respect my work. Heart, I feel embarrassed. Gut, my chest feels tight. By laying it out like this, you realize your reaction is entirely separate from the event itself.
Now, day 2 is what we call the practical wisdom pivot. This challenges you to look at a virtue you deeply value. Let's say courage, honesty, or patience. Think of a recent moment where you displayed either too much of it, which might look like brutal bluntness instead of honesty, or too little of it, like staying silent when you should have shown courage. The goal is to identify that middle ground. How could you have hit the golden mean? Because, this is where practical wisdom actually lives in our everyday lives.
All right, Section 3 covers days 3 and 4, alignment. Having established our internal baseline, we're now pivoting outward to focus on empathy, social wisdom, and purpose. Day 3 forces a massive perspective shift. The prompt asks you to write about a recent disagreement, but entirely from the other person's point of view. Then you apply the wise mentor lens. I want you to imagine a figure you deeply admire, a real wisdom keeper, watching the scene unfold. What objective, balanced advice would they give to both of you? This exercise completely short-circuits your ego and forces genuine empathy right into the equation.
Then on day 4, you check your alignment. You're going to list your top 3 core values. After that, you audit your last 24 hours to see which actions actually aligned with those stated purposes. Like, did scrolling social media for an hour nourish your core value of growth? Well, unless your specific goal was to grow your thumb muscles, probably not.
But did taking 10 minutes to meditate or call a friend nourish your value of connection? Absolutely. This is a massive reality check between what we say we value and how we actually spend our most precious resource, our time.
Okay, section 4 brings us to day 5, humility. We're hitting the climax of the cognitive challenge now, really stretching your mind to expand your consciousness.
Day 5 requires you to take an opinion or belief that you firmly hold, write it down, and then genuinely argue the other side. You literally have to write down 3 valid points for the opposing view, not weak straw man arguments, but real steel-manned points. Let me tell you, this is going to feel incredibly uncomfortable, but it is absolutely vital for your growth. It forces you to acknowledge that the world is incredibly complex and that very reasonable people can see things differently.
This brings us to integral consciousness, which is the capacity and the actual feeling of holding 2 conflicting ideas at once without losing your center. So that discomfort you feel during day 5, that is actually the root of something profound. It proves you can understand multiple truths simultaneously. You aren't abandoning your morals, you're just expanding your capacity to understand the world. And honestly, that is the hallmark of a truly mature, wise mind.
Finally, section 5 covers days 6 and 7, integration. As we hit the end of the week, the focus naturally shifts to accountability and synthesizing everything you've learned. On day 6, you'll use a super powerful ancient method called the Pythagoras audit. At the end of the day, you reflect deeply on your growth using 3 simple questions. 1, what did I do well today? 2, where did I miss the mark? And 3, and this one is the game changer, what opportunity for kindness or wisdom did I omit? We almost always judge ourselves by our actions, but this audit forces us to look at our inactions, those moments we could have stepped up with wisdom, but just chose not to.
Then, day 7 is all about reviewing your entries from the entire week. You are looking for themes. What patterns do you see repeatedly popping up in your head, your heart, and your gut? Maybe you notice your gut always tenses up right before you compromise a boundary, or maybe your head always jumps to a specific defensive logic. Identifying these patterns is exactly how you lock in the calibration of your new compass.
When you look at the entire 7-day progression laid out like this, the flow makes so much sense. Starting from basic self-awareness with the observer's log on day 1, you move through practical wisdom, empathy, values alignment, intellectual humility, and it all culminates in total integration. It's a highly structured, logical build. Every single day lays the necessary foundation for the next, ensuring that by the time you finish the week, your internal compass is vastly more accurate than when you started.
And that brings us to our final action step. As you wrap up this explainer and prepare to begin your own 7-day practice, I want you to write a brief letter to your future self. Based on everything you've uncovered so far, ask yourself, which single moral skill will become the true north of your new internal compass? Is it going to be patience, courage, empathy? Pick just one, focus your energy on it, and watch how it completely transforms your daily life. The compass is built, so where will you let it guide you today?